Now let's learn how to make the divider. There are 2 pieces in total. Both start with a foundation chain method. First, work back and forth in rows, then crochet around the edges in rounds. You'll need to wrap the wire as you crochet. Finally, join the pieces together. The new stitch technique used here is the W, 3 single crochets in 1 stitch. Please watch my demonstration for the detailed crocheting method. The foundation chain starts with 14 chains, which means starting with a foundation chain stitch, cast on 14 stitches. Refer to the chart upon completion. 2 means to begin crocheting from the second to last stitch. Locate the second chain from the end. Pick up the front loop and make 1 single crochet. Continue picking up the front loops correspondingly to work single crochets. Finish this row. Row 1 is completed. Continue with row 2. Start with a chain 1 as the beginning chain. Turn the work over. Pick up each stitch and work single crochets correspondingly. Once completed, row 2 is done. The following rows are crocheted using the same method as row 2. At the beginning of each row, make a turning chain, and turn the work over. When counting rows, you can count the texture on both the right and wrong sides of the single crochets. The row numbers shown in the chart are for reference only. You can check the fit by comparing it with the inside of the box while crocheting. Crochet until it's slightly smaller than the inner diameter of the box. After edging, it should fit perfectly inside. Complete the piece. For the swatch, the row count is random. Once the last row is completed, we'll proceed with the edging. I'll demonstrate using the swatch. Start with a chain 1 as the beginning chain. Turn the work over. Take the wire and place it on top of the crochet hook. Work single crochets while wrapping the wire into the stitches. When you reach the last stitch, make 1 single crochet and then 3 single crochets in the same stitch. That means working 3 single crochets in the same position. Completing the 3 single crochets in 1 stitch. Next, on the side edge, pick up the chain spaces between rows and work single crochets into them. Adjust the row count accordingly. The number of single crochets here might differ from the pattern chart. Just continue with normal crocheting. Finish the first row on the side edge. And now you're back at the starting chain. Pick up the other 2 strands of the starting chain. Work 1 single crochet and then 3 single crochets in the same stitch. Weave the yarn tails in together. Continue picking up the other 2 strands of the chain. Correspondingly make single crochets. Matching the single crochets of the first row, work into the same insertion position. At the last chain stitch, work 1 single crochet and 3 single crochets in the same stitch. Continue corresponding single crochets along the side edge. When you reach the end, leave a small section remaining. Wrap the starting wire into the stitches together. You can tidy up the entire fabric piece. Start at the insertion point for the first single crochet. Work 1 single crochet increase, SC2 in 1. Join with a slip stitch. Don't pull too tight. Fasten off and finish the stitches. Tuck the yarn tail on the wrong side. Cut off the excess wire. We will consider the side with clearer texture from the edging. As the right side of the fabric piece, the other divider is worked in the same way. Pay attention to keeping the row count consistent. Everyone complete yours. Next, I'll demonstrate the joining of the dividers using a swatch. Take the same color yarn and hang it properly. Place the 2 dividers with right sides together. Find the centered position. Insert into the stitch of this row on both pieces at the same time. Crochet a slip stitch. Pay attention, do not crochet on the edging part. No need to tighten. Cut the yarn after completing. Tuck the yarn tail along the texture. Adjust the shape slightly. Place it inside the box body. This completes the divider. Finally, let's learn the accessories, including the rabbit, flower and leaf decorations, tag and box lid sewing. Let's start with the rabbit. It is divided into the head, the front legs, and the body, the back legs. Head sewing, the tail, facial features and securing these parts. Let's start with the head. Begin with a magic ring method. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The new stitch technique used is the X-stitch single crochet. Pay attention, the entire rabbit is crocheted using the X-stitch single crochet. Please watch my demonstration of the specific crocheting method. Start by casting on. The foundation chain in the chart means starting with a magic ring. It indicates the casting on method is the magic ring technique. The casting on is done. Next, crochet the first round. Make 6 X-stitch single crochets in the magic ring loop. Don't miss the beginning chain. Insert. Place the hook above the yarn. Pull the yarn through. Yarn over and draw through once. 1 X-stitch single crochet is done. From now on, we'll call it a single crochet. Keep going. Remember to place the hook above the yarn when crocheting. After that, close the magic ring. Then bring the starting yarn tail to the front. In the first single crochet stitch, work 1 slip stitch. If you can't tell where it is, you can count the stitches from the back to the front. Pull tight. This completes the first round. We'll continue with the side that has the clearer texture as the right side. Now move on to crochet the second round. Work a single crochet increase, SC2 in 1, into each stitch evenly. You can tighten the yarn tails together at the same time. Finish with a slip stitch. Any remaining yarn tails can be trimmed off. The second round is complete. For rounds 3 through 14, continue crocheting in rounds following the form. The increases and decreases explanation means the same as before. Remember to start with a beginning chain. End by crocheting a slip stitch and pull tight. Once completed, turn the fabric inside out so the wrong side is facing outward. When counting rounds, you can count the rounds on the wrong side by looking at the horizontal bars. Everyone follow along with the form to complete it. Next I'll demonstrate round 15. First, crochet 3 single crochets. Then make 1 invisible single crochet decrease. Continue crocheting using the invisible single crochet decrease method, but since the wrong side is facing outward. For better appearance, you need to pick up the back loops only. Pick up the corresponding back loops one by one. Pay attention, for better appearance. First pick up the left side back loop. Then pick up the right side back loop. Remember the crochet hook remains above the yarn while crocheting. Single crochet decrease completed. Forming this effect on the outer side. Continue with 3 single crochets. The first set is done. Continue with the second set. First crochet 3 single crochets. One single crochet decrease. Pay attention, first pick up the left side back loop. Then insert into the right side back loop. Then crochet 3 single crochets. The second set is done. Continue to complete this round. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 15 is completed. Continue crocheting in rounds for the following rounds. Pay attention to pick the back loop when making the single crochet decrease. After completing the last round, leave a 30 cm yarn tail and fasten off. Add fiber fill inside. Stuff it as firmly as possible. This completes the head. Next, learn to make the front legs. A total of 2. Both are started with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Watch my demonstration for the detailed crocheting method. Start with a magic ring. Follow the chart for the first 3 rounds. The method is similar to that of the head. Pay attention to the wrong side facing out. Complete it by yourselves. Now I'll demonstrate round 4. First, make 2 single crochets. Next, pick up the front loops, and make 4 single crochets correspondingly. For the remaining part, pick up stitches, and crochet single crochets. Finish with a slip stitch. On the wrong side, you'll see 4 small horizontal bars formed. Round 4 is completed. Moving on to round 5. Continue crocheting by following the pattern chart. Complete it by yourselves. Here, I'll demonstrate the 6th round. First, make a beginning chain. On the remaining small horizontal bars of round 4. Which is right here. Pick up 2 bars on the right side and make 2 single crochets. Then on the 4 small horizontal bars left from round 3 stitches, make 4 single crochets correspondingly. Pay attention not to make it on the wrong position. Next, on the remaining half loops of round 4, skip 4 stitches. Make 2 single crochets correspondingly on the last 2 half loops. Continue picking up stitches from the previous round, and make 4 single crochets correspondingly. Pay attention to find the correct position. Here, you can start from the stitch above the insertion point of the previous single crochet. Begin crocheting from the left stitch. Then join with a slip stitch to finish. Round 6 is completed. Work even on the following rounds with single crochets. Leave a 10 cm yarn tail and fasten off. Crochet the other front leg using the same method. Do not cut the yarn at the end. Please complete it. Finally, add fiber fill. The piece is small. You can use a pair of tweezers to help. You can see the front leg forms a lifted effect on one end like this. That's all for the front legs. Next we'll learn how to crochet the body. Continue crocheting in rounds from the front legs. Watch me demonstrate the specific crochet method. First work round 1. Continue crocheting from the front leg without cutting the yarn. First work 8 single crochets. Chain 6. Then take the front leg with the yarn cut. Start crocheting the corresponding number of single crochets from the third stitch. Remember to keep the wrong side facing out. Insert the hook from the inside out. Gather the yarn tails together. When you reach the chain stitches, pick up the top half loop, and work 6 single crochets correspondingly. You can mark the insertion points of the first and last single crochets. Continue working 4 single crochets on the front leg. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 1 is complete. You can double check now. Both front legs are slightly curved upward at the front, meaning the starting point of each is at a higher position. If they are not symmetrical, adjust based on the actual situation. Adjust the starting position on the leg where the yarn was cut before crocheting. Continue crocheting round 2. Follow the pattern chart for the corresponding stitch techniques. When you reach a chain space, pick up the insertion point from the previous stitch, and work the corresponding stitch. Continue picking up stitches, and work the corresponding stitches. Pay attention to the stitch on the left side, don't miss it. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 2 is complete. Rounds 3 to 4 that follow. Continue crocheting based on the chart. Everyone complete it yourselves. Next I will demonstrate round 5. First, follow the pattern chart to crochet the corresponding number of single crochets. Then crochet 4 chain stitches. Skip the corresponding stitches. Continue crocheting single crochets. Remember to check the number of stitches. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 5 is complete. Continue to crochet round 6. First, work even without increasing or decreasing. When reaching the chain stitch position, pick up the front loop half stitch, and crochet a corresponding single crochet. Finish with a slip stitch. Round 6 is complete. A hole is formed here. For the following rounds, continue crocheting according to the chart. Remember to leave a hole at round 21. I'll demonstrate the method using a small swatch. Start with 1 chain stitch as the beginning chain. Then crochet 5 chain stitches. Skip 9 stitches. Here, the slip stitch insertion position counts as 1 stitch. Continue crocheting according to the chart. Finally, at the starting chain stitch, pick up 2 loops and finish with a slip stitch. Round 21 is complete. Continue crocheting in rounds afterward. After completing the final round, it's time to close up. Stretch the loop. Leave a 1/5 cm yarn tail and cut the yarn. Thread the needle. Pick up the back loops of the last round one by one. Pull the yarn through. Then tighten it up. Closing is complete. Tie off and weave in the ends. That concludes the explanation of the body. Next, let's learn how to make the back legs. There are 2 of them. Crochet each one in rounds at the corresponding position on the body. Watch me demonstrate the specific crochet method. First, crochet 1 back leg. Locate the stitch position left open on the 21st round of the body. Pick up the rightmost stitch and attach the yarn. Pay attention to insert the hook from the front side. First, pick up the corresponding stitch and work 9 single crochets. The first single crochet is worked into the same stitch where the yarn was attached. Tighten the yarn tail together at the same time. Work 1 single crochet into the side edge single crochet. Pick a suitable position to crochet. Make sure not to leave a large gap. Then, pick up the remaining 2 strands from the 5 chain stitches here. Correspondingly work 5 single crochets. Insert the hook into the previous stitch's insertion point to crochet. Also work 1 single crochet into the side edge of the single crochet on the other side. Finally, join with a slip stitch into the first stitch of the round. The first round is complete. For round 2, follow the pattern chart. Where you need to skip stitches, simply skip them. Finish with a slip stitch at the end. The second round is complete. Continue crocheting in rounds for the following rounds, following the chart. Finish by closing up the opening at the end. Use the same closing method as for the bodice final round. Complete it on your own. Crochet the other back leg using the same method. Attach it to the chain space on the other side of round 21 on the body. Complete this part as well. Remember to add fiberfill into the legs and body at the end. You can use tweezers to help with this. If there isn't enough fiberfill, you can add small pieces of yarn scraps. Complete the stuffing process. That's all for the back legs. Next, sew the head onto the body. Thread the reserved yarn tail from the head into a sewing needle. Place the slip stitch seam at the back. And whip stitch it to the chain space at the front of the body. Just sew through the 2 remaining strands of the chain stitches. Match 1 stitch to 1 stitch when sewing. When you reach the final part of sewing, if the stuffing feels insufficient, you can add a bit more. After sewing, secure the back and bottom of the head to the body. To lift the head up, The final shape can be adjusted according to your preference. Tie off and weave in the ends neatly. That's how you finish sewing the head. Finally, let's learn about the tail. I'll explain using a small sample here. The tail is started using the magic ring method. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise, with the wrong side facing out. After completing the final round, add a little bit of fiber fill. Leave a 30 cm yarn tail and thread it through a yarn needle. Sew the opening of the tail to the back of the body, just above the closing point. The exact position can be adjusted based on your preference. Any sewing method is fine, as long as it's securely fixed. Finally, tie a knot and weave in the ends. Please complete this step. That's all for the tail explanation. Now let's move on to the facial features, including the ears, eyes, mouth and nose, and decorations. There are 2 ears. Using the foundation chain method, follow the magic ring, form a loop, sew it onto the head after completing. Watch me demonstrate the specific crochet method. Start with a chain of 8 stitches. Begin from the second stitch from your hook. Pick up the half loop and work single crochets. On the last stitch, work 1 single crochet and 3 single crochets in the same stitch. Rotate the fabric after completing. Work on the other side of the starting chain. Pick up the previous single crochet's insertion point. Correspondingly make 5 single crochets, mindful not to hook into the rightmost chain stitch. Gather the yarn tails together. Work 1 single crochet increase in the last insertion position. Finish with a slip stitch. The first round is complete. Continue crocheting the next 2 rounds following the chart. Indicates working into the same stitch. You'll encounter T half double crochet and E treble crochet while crocheting. The crochet method is the same as before. For stitches other than single crochet, you can work them normally. Or you can pull through the loops using the X stitch single crochet method. Feel free to choose based on your preference. Finally, leave a 30 cm yarn tail and cut the yarn. Crochet the other ear using the identical method. Everyone, please complete it. That concludes the explanation for crocheting the ears. Once the ears are completed, proceed to sewing them together. First, thread the yarn tail of one ear into the yarn needle. Position the ear with the textured right side facing forward. The end of the yarn is fixed 2 rounds apart from the starting point of the head. Secure it in place with a gap of 2 rounds. Here the ear will naturally curl. Adjust the shape according to your preference. That's all for the explanation of the ears. Next, we will make the eyes. First, take the same color yarn as the head. The swatch is made for easier viewing. Colors are used randomly. Thread the yarn into the yarn needle. Locate the 10th round of the head. The center 5 stitches on the front. Place markers on the 2 stitches on either side. Use the needle to mark the spot. Insert the needle from the back bottom of the head. Draw it out at 1 eye position. Skip a small distance, then insert back in near the exit point. Pull tight to form the eye socket. You can pull it a few more times to secure. Tie a knot at the end. Hide the yarn tail inside the fabric. One eye socket is now completed. Repeat the same method for the other eye socket. Once both sockets are done, take out the eyes, attach them into the sockets respectively. In this swatch, the eye sizes are used randomly. You can adjust the distance between the eyes according to your preference. This completes the eyes. Next, create the mouth, nose, and decorations. First, take a piece of yarn for the nose. Pull out one strand and insert it into a thin needle. On the edge below the eyes. Centered, embroider a Y shape. The exact position can be determined based on your preference. Once it fits properly, trim off the excess yarn tail. The mouth and nose are now completed. Continue making the decorations, including the red stripes and blush. First, take a piece of red yarn, pull out one strand and insert it into a thin needle, centered above the eyes. Embroider 3 line segments. Then, about 2 stitches away from the eyes, embroider 2 line segments, one long and one short. Try to keep both sides symmetrical. Finally, cut the yarn. The red stripes are done. Next, apply a bit of blush on the outer edge below the eyes. You can spread it evenly on paper before applying it. Try to keep it light and even. Apply a little in the middle of the ears as well. This completes the facial features. Finally, attach the rabbit to the box lid. Here I use a swatch to demonstrate. Cut a piece of yarn used for crocheting the rabbit. Insert the yarn needle. Place the rabbit on the edge of the box lid motif. Refer to the actual project for the exact direction, or adjust according to your preference. Match up with the position of the last rounds to stitch groups. Pick up the yarn strand underneath the body, and secure it to the box lid. When sewing onto the box lid, try to pick up the top yarn strands. To avoid affecting the appearance, pull the yarn tight. This part might be a bit tricky to sew. Please be patient. Once confirmed secure, tie knots with the yarn tails and hide them well. Finish this step. The rabbit is now securely attached. That's all for the rabbit explanation. Next, let's learn about the floral leaves decoration and the tag. First, crochet the osmanthus flowers and leaves separately, then assemble them with the box lid and the tag. First, crochet the osmanthus flowers. There are two color schemes. Both use the magic ring method. Crochet in rounds. Please watch my demonstration of the specific crocheting method. Start with a magic ring. Then crochet the first round. First, chain 3 stitches. On the third chain from the hook, work 1 double crochet in the front loop. Chain 2 stitches and 1 slip stitch. Gently tighten. After completing, slip stitch into the starting chain loop. The first group is done. Repeat this group's crochet method. Complete this round. Finally, leave a 5 cm yarn tail and break the yarn. Close the magic ring. We will see the side with the braid-like texture on the edge, as the right side of the fabric. All yarn tails are hidden on the wrong side. Please complete it. This way, osman this flower is done. The rest of the osman this flowers should be made, using the corresponding color yarn. Please complete them. Next, let's learn how to make the leaves. There are multiple leaves. We will start from foundation chain. Follow the magic ring, form a loop. The new stitch technique used is a picket of 2 chains. Please watch my demonstration for the specific crocheting method. First, make a foundation chain. Start from the second to last chain. Pick up the half loop, and work 1 slip stitch correspondingly. Do not tighten. 1 single crochet. Simply crochet the single crochet normally here, 6 half double crochets. On the ending chain, work 1 single crochet. 1 picket of 2 chains. First, chain 2. Pick up the front loop of the next stitch, and 1 strand from the left side. Work 1 slip stitch. Gently tighten. The picket of 2 chains is completed. Work 1 more single crochet at the same insertion point below. Continue crocheting the corresponding stitch pattern on the other side of the chain. After completing the slip stitch at the end, finish with a slip stitch on the starting slip stitch loop. Leave a yarn tail of 1/5 cm and cut the yarn. This completes 1 leaf. Crochet the remaining leaves using the same method. Finally, proceed with assembly. First, cut a piece of sewing thread and thread it through a thin needle. Make sure the needle can pass through the pearls. Tie a knot at the end of the folded thread. First, assemble the pendant and 4 osman this flowers. Refer to the finished product for the color scheme, or adjust according to your preference. Attach pearls to the center of the front side of the flowers on both sides, and place them with their wrong sides facing each other. Sew them together in the middle. Once securely fastened, continue by taking another 2 osmanthus flowers of different colors, and sew them onto the sides of the previous flowers, and position them adjacent to each other. Don't forget to secure the pearls. Create this effect. Next, secure the pendant underneath. Pay attention to the direction of the text. Once securely fastened, thread the yarn to this side. Finally, attach this part to the last round's dent on the box lid. On the wrong side, the position corresponds perfectly front and back with the rabbit. Make sure the pendant hangs naturally, don't let it tilt sideways. Avoid visible stitches on the front side. Finally, tie off and weave in the ends. This completes the pendant assembly. Next, secure the osmanthus flowers and leaves on the box lid. On the last few rounds of the box lid motif, evenly distribute them in 4 places. Refer to the finished product for exact amount, color scheme and positioning. You can also adjust based on personal preference and leftover materials. Here I'll use the spot on the left side of the pendant as an example to demonstrate the sewing method. First, thread the yarn tail of the leaf onto a sewing needle and secure it to the fabric surface. The position of the leaf is random. The half with the tip of the leaf remains unsecured. Finally tie off and weave in the ends. The other leaf can be secured on your own. Next, just like before when threading beads, take the yarn. Secure the osmanthus flower on top of the leaf. Then secure the pearls individually. Carry the yarn to the next position. Continue securing the remaining osmanthus flowers. Finally tie off and weave in the ends. This is the sewing method for the flower and leaf. Follow this method to sew and secure the other flower leaves. That's all for the flower leaf decoration and pendant. Finally attach the box lid to the box body. Take a piece of yarn used for crocheting the box body. Thread the yarn needle. Find the corresponding position on the box lid for the rabbit. Pick up these two groups of stitches, the few stitches in the middle, and the box body. Secure them into the insertion points on the outer side of the small horizontal bars. Here you can pick up the positions with slip stitch marks for sewing. Pick up the insertion points of these few stitches to secure. Sew this section together. Make sure to pull the yarn tail tight. Finally tie a knot and hide it. This completes the sewing of the box lid. Up to this point, the entire storage box has been fully explained. If you have any unclear points during the crocheting process, feel free to reach out to our customer service. Don't hesitate to join our Facebook group to get supports. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you all for watching. See you in the next episode.